Baddie Behavior. Baddie Behavior. Classic, we're out and about. Obviously, this is a Baddie original.
Hello, Baddies. Welcome to episode 3 of Baddie Behavior, the podcast. I am Marjana Maxudi, your host and the only one talking this episode, and for many more. But if you missed the other 2 episodes, 1 and 2, there's still time to catch up because they're right there and they're not that long. Someone really important to me in my life has said, there's only 2 types of people in the world, ones that entertain and ones that observe. And that's Britney Jean Spears. That song, and I think it came out when I was like 16. And I've decided I'm going to put on a show no matter what. We are here. So why not? And that, I don't believe in imposter syndrome. That's just something that is not real, at least to me. Let's see what the actual definition is. Okay, why are they using the word in the definition? I hate that. Imposter syndrome involves a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud or incompetent and doubting your accomplishments. It can manifest in various ways, including negative self-talk, distorted perceptions, and anxiety. Okay, yeah. I mean, whatever you believe is true. So if you believe you're a fraud or whatever, then that's going to be your story. But I don't believe in that. I don't. Maybe that's because of my circumstances. But the past 10 years, from 21 to 31, I'm 31 now, I've had 7 surgeries and 1 broken ankle. That happened this summer. So I added it to the list. Everything in life is a choice, and that's including not thinking you're good enough or whatever, or thinking you are good enough. You have to decide, and that's what it is. I played Division I soccer, and it wreaked havoc on my body. I've had 4 surgeries on my ankles and Achilles combined, 2 on my thumb, 1 on my jaw, which was not related to soccer. And I broke my ankle definitely during soccer, and I just taped it up. Regardless, so from 21 to 31, I've had 10 years. I've had a surgery every year or a year and a half, and some surgeries took longer to recover, and some were kind of back to back. These were last ditch options. I have a very high pain tolerance, and that's kind of hindered my life in a way because physical pain doesn't bother me like as much as the internal pain. Internal pain is way worse than physical pain for me. Physical pain I can understand. There's something, I broke my ankle, it can be fixed, but the mental part of it, there's a point where I had to look at my circumstances, and every time I didn't choose this, my body broke down, and I have asked myself, am I going to dwell on this or not? I'm confident and I am optimistic because of what I've been through, and because I've had to accept things in my life that were traumatic or not how I wanted, and that's the only way to move forward. So in college, I had to get my Achilles rescinded and fixed. I had extra bones in my heel that were gnawing away at my Achilles, and it felt like I was being stabbed. And I would cry after every practice, but I was a starter and we were winning. Your body is needed on the field, and it paid for my tuition. And so what are they going to do? Not play me? I got surgery after the season to fix that. It was hard, but I'm 21, whatever. It's fine. So I recover from that. It takes a long time. Then I have to get my other ankle, my other Achilles was going to burst the same way. So in a span of like a year, I had 2 surgeries on that, and then recovering from that and playing college soccer again. I did break my thumb in college as well. I guess it was in warm-ups. Compression fracture. The ball was going out of bounds in warm-ups, and the ball hit the tip of my thumb, and I fell back, and a girl stepped on it. Crushed it. Didn't know it was broken until like a year later when I was playing at Fordham. And then after that season, I just had to get reconstructive surgery. And all my first surgeries from college, I had to get redone because they failed, because I was still playing so hard after them. So my early 20s, it was college soccer. It was still hard. Then my mid-20s, I had to get, what's it called? My Achilles again, my ankle, and my thumb 2 times, and then my jaw. And on top of these surgeries, I was building my career, and then my mom got cancer again. That's when like my breaking point. When my mom got cancer the second time in my mid-20s, I felt like I reverted back to when I was 12. I was really scared, and I didn't know, I never processed those emotions when I was 12. Granted, 12-year-old me, it was, what year was it? It was 2005, 2006. I don't want to say like everyone has cancer now, but like at that time it was really rare for a 42-year-old woman, young woman, healthy to get cancer. Growing up, it was okay, if someone has cancer, they die. That's kind of what the sentiment was. And for me, at 12, it amplified me being anxious and worried about my mom dying and being in an intense environment growing up, training and playing soccer. Like everything was life and death in my life, really. Soccer was life and death. Or if we didn't play well, we would get our phones taken away, our flip phones. My dad's foreign Albanian. He would train us. It was a really intense foreign household. My dad would train us like Olympians. We never went to a party. We never drank. First time I drank was in college. Playing soccer was the only way out to get a good education and be where I want to be down the line. We were good, wholesome girls. Still are. So my mom got cancer again, and my body was trying to recover from all this trauma and all of that. And when my mom got it, I was like, white flag. This cancer was different. It was kidney cancer compared to her breast cancer. And I did a lot of research. I think it was from her breast cancer treatments. Regardless, she had an aneurysm in there, and they couldn't do surgery a certain way, and it was really specific, and she could bleed out on the table, and then it was aggressive. So, but she was at Sloan Kettering. I didn't really tell anyone. I go to work all day, and then I'd go to the hospital after work, then stay with my mom after her surgeries and sleep over. I didn't want to leave her alone, and then would go to my apartment the next day, shower, barely slept, and go back to the office and just like do that for a while in the city. I was still recovering from my surgeries, and my jaw was like a few months earlier. I was just like broken down, and like my body was like stripped down to like dealing with all of this. Before, I was in a family dynamic where I was around my sister and my brothers and in a household, and I, being at work and all that, but being a young adult and kind of navigating that again, I felt more isolated, literally in casts and slings in the office. I didn't expect to go back to how I was 12 because I never got to actually talk about it. We just kind of move on from things, which is fine. My mom, she didn't talk about having cancer a lot because she was just getting it done. That's fine. There was no reason to talk about it because it was just like, okay, we have chemo, we have radiation today, we have soccer practice, we have this. Mom is bald, sick all the time. She's not her usual self. And chemo is really harsh on a young person too. So my mom wasn't herself for a while. And like, how could she be? So from like 12, 13, 14, 15, she was navigating her life. Her diagnosis, it was intense. She had to do a lot of chemo and radiation. When she got it again, I spiraled, and I had to learn how to ask for help, lean on people that could, like my friends, my coworkers. I didn't tell anyone for a while. I was like, it's not anyone's business, but like keeping everything inside was not good. And I think it manifested in my physical injuries had it escaped. So then I would cry all the time, and it was overwhelming, and I had to take care of the little girl who experienced it. It was for the 12-year-old who felt sad and alone. One day you're fine, and one day you can have cancer, you can be sick, you can get injured, and that's your life. And it's the same thing the opposite way. One day you can have a great idea, you can create a clothing brand, you can create a podcast, you can create anything, and that's your new life, and you feel like you don't deserve that. But why do you deserve it if something negative happens to you? Why can you be like, oh, this is it? But if something positive happens to you, or something new that you want to do now envelops into your life, why is that not allowed to be there? So after all these negative things happened to me in my life, I had no other option to other than be optimistic and confident in myself, because I've gotten through everything else before. There's no other choice. Like I said earlier, it's a choice to do this, and I choose to live in a world where I want to explore and do these things. So being an imposter, don't let anyone tell you you're not good enough for something, or they don't care. They're not your audience, and they don't need to be your audience. The right customer, the right person will be there for you and will support you. And sometimes you need to step back and get away from the limiting beliefs of your personal ecosystem and just be like, no, it doesn't matter. And also, a lot of people are watching you and they are cheering you on too. Life is about duality. If you are a polarizing person, you're going to get lashed back 50% of the time, half the time, and not. If you want everyone to like you, then that's boring. Anything that happens to you in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and you're still here, you have 100% success rate. Success is you got up, you did it. So things like that makes, taking a risk, changing my career, that's not scary. Are you kidding? It's such a treat. It's not life and death. Okay, maybe it'll be hard for me to find another job at something else, but that's not scary to me. So it's like exposure therapy. But yeah, being able to accept the circumstances that are in front of you, good or bad, and then be like, how can we move on from this situation? How can I get to X, Y, and Z? I broke my ankle the 2 days before I launched Baddie Behavior, but then that forced me to sit at my computer, work on my assets, because I had all the things I've done prior, and do other things. And the one thing about my mom and her journey about it, she never let cancer define her. it's the least interesting thing about her. We forget that she's even had it, and she like didn't even let it be like part of her life. Yet physically, did she have a bald head? Yes. But okay, let's take a positive out of it. I would be the grocery store girl. I'd ask my siblings, okay, we're going to Price Chopper. What do you want? I'm going to get Dunkaroos, Gushers, chip. We're going to get taquitos. We're going to get pizza rolls. I'm like, okay, I'm not letting her go by herself. So we went, and she's so tired, and we couldn't drive because we're 12 and my brother's 9 and my brother's 14. Like, no one can drive. So she has to drive us. My dad's working. And one of the best times is like her being so tired from chemo and radiation. That's when I got all the foods I wanted. I mean, granted, we got what we wanted most of the time, but it was like hardcore. She was like, okay. I'm like, yeah. And I was the hero. All my siblings, they'd get what they wanted. And it became kind of a fun thing that we did. And we still talk about all like the good snacks we got. This past week, my mom had her checkup at Sloan, and it was just so nice to be able to support her and be there and like in a positive space. And we don't know what she gets her results on Friday. I think she's going to be fine. Like, but she has to go in and have her checkups more regularly because her cancer has been aggressive. The only reason why we found out she had kidney cancer is because she got kicked by her special needs child. She's an aide, and it broke her rib. It was like serendipitous. Also the high pain tolerance. If she didn't get that checked because she broke it, she would be dead by now, 100%. Because like no one's getting body scans like that. It was such a fast growing tumor. They're like, we need to get it out like right away. It's just crazy how fragile life can be any moment. And everyone has a story. Everyone has that. But that's what makes me not imposter syndrome. Why would you take extra energy to think you're not good enough? I was like, okay, I'm smart and I'm capable. Why can't it be me? And why can't it be you? Everyone has been through hard things. If you've been through them, if you're going through them now, you will go through in the future. They've drained you. They've made you question things. But I use everything as intel access point. Everything now is an experience that I can go back on. So I take this into how I live my life. I have no degree in fashion. I have no formal training. I have formal training in soccer and all that, but I'm not a professional soccer player. My twin sister is. I don't think my body could do it, and I don't really want to do it. But also going into things with no expectations, I believe doing something imperfectly is better than doing nothing at all. Just doing things, getting it done is one of my superpowers. I will try it, I will do it, and I don't see anything as a failure because I've learned from that. So when I created this clothing brand, Baddie Behavior, even this podcast, I've never had my own podcast, learning how to upload it and do things myself. Me not having a formal fashion training, I think has given me a fresh perspective because I have no idea what it should look like the actual way, or I'm just going off my instincts. If I knew how hard it was starting, or like a lot of people would not start, but I like not knowing some things and just learning on the way and being like, looking back, would I redo my life? No, I'm tired, but I'm excited for the future because I have not done that yet. When I made my sweatsuits, I instinctually just knew where I wanted it to hit on my body. There was nothing about, it should be this in the chest. I'm like, I know how I'm running because I've done it millions of times training for soccer. I'm like, when I'm walking around campus, when I'm walking around the West Side Highway, I want to hit right at my hip bone. So when I wear biker shorts, it'll look good. When I wear my sweatpants, you can see the logo. And I don't like a lot of fabric on me. It's just like too much sometimes. So that's why I do the oversized crop, and that's why it's all instinct. And then I send my dimensions to my manufacturers. I'm like, this is how I want it to fit. And I'm also not getting things back and that they don't fit amazingly. I sent them the exact dimensions. It takes me longer to do it because I want to make sure I'm sending them the exact dimensions. And that way, when I get my items back, I don't really need to go back and forth because it's exactly what I told them. So deciding what you want to do is something, and going with it is the only decision you need to do. You won't be an imposter. You will feel weird because you've never experienced that before. But then if you just let things go, how many times I've just been like, whoa, I'm overwhelmed in this new environment. But I'm like, you have to just lean into wherever you are, whoever you're with. There's always going to be something exciting, something that you can learn or experience that you can use. That's my radiator. I don't know why it's so loud. Sometimes not knowing the rules in life is the best thing to happen to you. If you want to change up your whole look, your whole career, your whole life, do it. That's just your higher self saying that you wanted to experience that. If you are waiting for permission to do something, to start something new, let me be the person to give you that permission. No one knows what they're doing at first, but the baddie mindset is doing it anyway, doing it scared, following that glimmer inside of you that is so excited to do something. And sometimes you want to do it, but you don't want to. That's when you actually should do it. Like, even this podcast, I was like nervous to do it. I didn't really want to do it because I'm like, what do I have to talk about? Like Britney Spears said, there's two types of people in the world: ones that entertain and ones that observe. Both are important for the ecosystem. If we don't have people watching and audiences, then for the performers, there's nothing there for them. So you are important as a consumer. I'm a consumer. We're all consumers. But if you are someone that has a need to perform, to put something out there, you're not an imposter. Don't let anyone define who you are. You define who you are. I'm grateful for everything that's happened to me because it's given me insights. It's given me experiences that I can look back on and relate to someone, or be like, oh, I've done that. Oh, I haven't experienced that, but I've experienced this. Learning through doing is so important. At least for me, there's no failure if you try. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying and I'm doing and I'm learning, and I see things that work. I see things I like, and there's things that I love that I'm like, oh, this video, I love making it so much. And I get like 200 views. Okay, whatever. Next. Also, yeah, I tried this new, the Hailey Bieber road. I really wanted it, and it's made my skin so, this is not like a promotion. My mom told me not to touch my pimples, my big pimples. I'm 31 years old and she's like, don't touch that. I'm like, okay. What did I do? Go to the mirror and touch it. And I have a huge one right here. I didn't want to wear the star patch right there because it just looked a little bit too much. Yeah, so I got the Hailey Bieber glazing milk and I really wanted it. I have oily skin to begin with. I've been dealing with pimples since the mid 2000s. I was a late bloomer. I got all my hormones at once when I hit puberty at 15 in high school. Like, I got my period in high school and horrible acne. All we had was Proactive and prayers. And now there's so many different items that I'm so glad science has progressed since the Neutrogena Orange Blast. That's still my cabinet at home. But so I got this and I have these huge pimples on my face, but it's a purging. It made me break out. I've dealt with this so many times. Your skin needs to get used to something. It's never seen it before. It's like, whoa, what is this? So these pimples are coming out of my skin that no longer need to be there because okay, it's time to go. That's the same thing with imposter syndrome. I've never experienced running my own clothing brand before. You've never experienced maybe trying that new job or doing that and you feel like a fraud, feel like you shouldn't be there. No, it's a new experience, baby. And in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, it's going to be like glazing and you're going to see without these pimple patches. I would show you, but like I just keep touching them. So it's for my own safety. And this is going to work. Everyone's like, oh, it's breaking me out. No, it's purging. Your skin needs to push those other things out that it's now brought to the surface. So that's the same thing when trying something new. You're going to have feelings that pop up and thoughts that are not your own, that your body's self-defense mechanism being like, whoa, are we sure we want to be doing this? Are you sure you want to do this? Oh, go back to your old job. Oh, maybe let them in again. You decide what goes on in your mind. It's easier said than done. I've had ups and downs, but it's a muscle. Your brain is a muscle. It's a mental muscle. Training in sports, you get stronger, you get better. The more you do it, the more you refine it. If you do it the correct way and learn how to do that, it's the same thing. So I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I'm learning just like you, but I'm out here. I'm trying. And when other people are out there trying, doing what they're like, what they want to do, the energy, the world is at a better space. So you, by chasing your dreams, not even chasing, appropriately going after what makes you feel right and feel good and feel excited, that's going to make the energy in the world that much better. But you can chase your dreams by still having your full-time job. That's what I did. I have side jobs and other things, and it makes a journey interesting. Every day I'm just like, okay, what can I experience today? What can I see and experience today that's going to excite me? I need to be stimulated. Instead of waiting for someone else, I will just do it. I will be like, okay, this is so fun. Like, I'm walking down the street. Look at me. I'm in New York City. This is so cool. Oh, if I'm not in New York City, I'm like, well, I wish I was in New York City. But I want to encourage you, baddies, to today, whenever you're listening to this, to do one thing, take action on one thing that you've been overthinking. If it's like, oh, I really want to draw today, but I haven't drew in so long. Or like that book I need to return that library book. And just like try it. If it's a dance move or if it's a push-up, just and see how like, oh, it's not that serious. You're not an imposter. You just haven't done it that many times yet. Don't let anyone tell you you're not good enough for anything. So, all right, I'll see you next time. Hopefully my pimples have gone away at that point. But if they haven't, that's okay. Just ride it through, baby. Bye.